5, 6 years after my dad died, I found this device. It's one of those old things like we used to use in the 80s and 90s that had a tiny cassette. Immediately I thought, wow, I recorded like an hour of my dad talking, and it doesn't exist anywhere else. My dad had come up here from Kentucky and had spent a couple days, and during that time, as best I remember, we were going to go to a gun show together. I decided I'll just take that recorder and just turn it on and set it in the pickup and just let it go while we drive up there and back. All the way up, my dad told stories, and he used to live in Dayton back in the 1940s during the war. He worked in Dayton during World War II. So I looked at it and I flipped it over. I had left the batteries in it and they had corroded and just eaten the insides, including I pop open the little cartridge thing and it corroded into the tape and destroyed the tape. Years later, then I find that tape and it's destroyed. And I thought, I just robbed myself of that by not being responsible with what I had and not realizing what I had at the time. I've robbed myself, not only myself, I've robbed my grandson of this. A year and a half ago, my health was in a condition where I wasn't sure if I was going to live through it or not. I wasn't sure that I was going to see 2017. That was the spark that caused me to say, okay, I will not be like my dad in the sense of leaving nothing behind for anyone to know what I did or what I said or what I thought or what I lived or what I experienced. So then it became a race. Like, am I going to get this done or am I not going to get it done? What's the best thing I can do? How can I do this the best? And I decided to just write an autobiography. If I could write something that my grandson or maybe his son would find entertaining, then I want to do that. And I have to not try to glaze over the bad things that I've done. But I can also tell it to them in such a way that they can learn a lesson from it. So hopefully they don't do stupid or bad things like that in their own lives. I started making a timeline and then I started writing events. And one of the hardest things for me to do was to sit down after I had already written well over 15 years worth of my life. I realized that some of my memories were not really there. They were based on other people's stories. So then I had to go through literally line by line and make sure that what I was putting down there was my memory and not somebody else's. I finished it March 2019, March of this year. I got to the point of where I said, all right, push it away, get away from it, and look at it again later. It was therapeutic to write it, and it was therapeutic to finish and step away from it and say, all right, now the burden is off of me. For Miles' sake, I wanted him to know why I did the decisions I did, why we did things like we did, and how the attitudes and the persona of his dad developed. How did he get the legacy that he now has? I build this thing and I say, this is why I am who I am. This is what made me, and this is what justifies me. Do with it as you like, throw it away, read it, coat it with gold and put it in a library, or burn it. Whatever, that's not my responsibility. I've done my part, and now the rest is up to you. Whatever you want to do with it.